Is there a shadow government that pulls the strings behind the scenes? Power brokers that have secretly ruled for generations. And those who know of their existence dare not reveal who they really are. They have existed, weaving a nightmare web of blackmail, Luciferian rituals, death, and pain to push an agenda hidden beneath the guise of democracy, freedom, and autonomy. This video will cover one of just many of these predators hiding within these webs, and possibly one at the very top of the hierarchy. So join me as we unlock the secrets and tell the untold story of Somerset Belenoff, also known as the Mother of Darkness herself. There is a fine line between speculation, legend, and fact with this case, but I will do my best to relay the information I found, and you can draw your own conclusions. All information has been pulled from public resources and is for entertainment purposes only. This isn't your typical Mystery Archives video, but things that I seldomly choose to cover. Dark and evil, conspiracy-related things. I don't claim for these things to be true, because it is all speculation, and trying to find available information is difficult at best. So again, draw your own conclusions. The following information has been sourced from numerous archive documents, websites, and blogs, as well as a group known as the Shadow Watchers, which we will get into later. It's said that the elite who run this world love their seclusion. The ultra-rich private estates and their gated communities, to places that no one outside of their inner circles have ever seen. They are said to perform terrible and perverse rituals in locations such as these, often to honor and worship their dark, ancient gods, keeping what they do from the prying eyes of the world. Truth seekers and self-proclaimed shadow watchers have made it their life's mission to uncover the secrets of these people and what they do, and will serve as the basis for the information found in this video. More so than my previous video, we will be touching upon a rootless, small, international group of individuals, but ones who sit atop a vast power infrastructure that influences, controls, and dominates the world. Rootless, as in they don't have just one home. They live everywhere and operate everywhere. They are small in number, but dominant in power, and their influence spans the globe. Some call them the New World Order, others the elite, and many the Illuminati. Although there are many key figures who make up this supposed hierarchy, we will touch upon one in particular more than others today. One that is said to be at the very top of one particular group that controls the others. An enigmatic figure known as Somerset Belenoff. Who is this allegedly powerful, yet reclusive figure? She was born in Scotland and of royal blood, calling Glamis Castle home. Said to be one of the third cousins of Queen Elizabeth II, she would have been afforded a life of luxury that most could only dream of as her birthright. Born with a silver spoon in her mouth would be an understatement. The British royal bloodline, of course, descends from the Saxe-Coburg and Gotha bloodline, leaving a long history of power and control. She is allegedly the great-granddaughter of Grigory Rasputin and Princess Elizabeth of Hesse and by Rhine, who was the granddaughter of Queen Victoria. This means that Miss Belenoff is the great-great-great-granddaughter of Queen Victoria, as are Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, the Queen's husband. As I previously covered in the first Mothers of Darkness video about Chateau d'Armois, these elites as we know them are comprised of multiple, extremely old Luciferian families, those who invoke the power of him by corrupting the innocent in horrible ways. Adept witches who have been bred, raised, and taught these methods for hundreds of years, convening on certain dates and times to perform macabre rituals that would disgust any rational person who dared to witness them. Although from the viewpoint of most, it's easy to demonize these people, but some of them, as well, are byproducts of the rituals themselves. These witches are said to be the subjects of satanic ritual abuse from an early age. These rituals contain mental, sexual, and physical abuse, all of which results in a dissociative disorder, which allows them to be easily programmable. As they grow older, they too participate in the ritual abuse just as they had experienced, and the cycle begins anew, conducting the rituals, drawing the sigils, and abusing the young. They essentially, through their horrific methods, have found a way of corrupting, of breaking the human brain for reprogramming, to remake the poor subjects in their image, to mock God himself, and ensure that all subjects be easily controllable for the master. To me, this is the true definition of evil. It's incredibly hard to fathom human beings doing this to others, but it does happen, and has been happening for far too long. There are truly evil people in this world that worship an immaterial force that they refer to as Lucifer. Following Somerset's life, as I've found, as she grew up, she was certainly being schooled at the best private institutions that money could buy, and being taught about where she came from and who she was to be. There is one photo that exists of her, and that is a supposed school photo shown here. The age and date, despite my best efforts, however, are unknown. Following the ritual abuse that took place to her at her home in Glamis Castle, she seemed to develop an affinity for speaking with the dead and taking a keen interest in the dark occult practices she had experienced. She began making factual statements about long-dead relatives who had died in Glamis Castle, often referring to them by nicknames used for them when they were alive. When Belenoff was 8 years old, she joined a grown-up card game and played extremely well, winning several hands, a game that she had never been known to play before. When the astonished adults asked how she learned to play so well, she replied that she had been playing cards on a regular basis with Earl Beardy in a hidden room within the castle since she was 3 years old. Earl Beardy can beat the devil himself at cards, she announced. And sometimes I can beat the devil too. Earl Beardy was a distant relative of the current royal family who lived in Glamis Castle and died there in 1486. Belenoff would continue to grow up and be groomed for power, and her time would eventually come. In October of 1979, Somerset was appointed by the then Queen to represent the House of Windsor, and by extension, the United Kingdom, on the Veton World Governing Council. At 26 years of age, she was the youngest delegate to sit on the council, but she would soon become an unstoppable force for change. within the governing body. The Veton World Governing Council is a shadowy organization responsible for enforcing handed-down directives given by an inner organization known as the Upper Chamber. These are directives for fulfilling the great missions of the elite, among many, controlling the world and creating a slave class serve as some of the overarching themes. Of course, enforcing such orders would require a vast network of extremely talented people using their various talents for the furtherment of those orders and overall control. Some examples of these include multilingual communications experts, military experts, information technology professionals, high-level managers used to handling off-the-book operations for various governments across the globe, assassins of every type, occult practitioners, judges, prosecutors, and all the cogs of within the various legal systems, as well as monetary and banking experts, and so much more. From 1947 until his assassination by the Irish Republican Army in August of 1979, Windsor was represented on the Veton Council by Louis Mountbatten, 1st Earl of Burma. Lord Mountbatten was the uncle of Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth's husband, and had been a trusted advisor to the royal family. His 32-year tenure on the council is generally categorized as uneventful. Upon his death, Queen Elizabeth appointed Miss Belenoff to the council, and by letters bestowed upon her the title of Countess. The House of Veton dates from approximately 950 AD and is Europe's preeminent dynastic family. The ancestral home of the House of Veton was in Poland and then later Germany, but due to the historical importance of the dynasty, its influence extends across the world. All of the people that you have ever heard of in the context of the ruling elite or the Illuminati have ties to and are in fact governed by the Veton World Governing Council, the Committee of 300, the Windsors, Rothschilds, Habsburgs, Bilderbergs, Rockefellers, Bushes, Vanderbilts, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, and the United Nations all supposedly send their delegates to the Veton Council and are all ultimately controlled to a large degree by them. Members of the Veton dynasty have been kings and queens of many European countries. In 1840, Queen Victoria married Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, a prince of the House of Veton, which meant that the House of Windsor was annexed by marriage to the House of Veton. The children of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert never used the surname Veton, but it is in fact the official surname of the royal family. During World War I, due to anti-German sentiment at home, the royal family officially changed their surname to Windsor. Upon taking her seat at the Windsor Delegate in October of 1979, Countess Belenoff began to exercise a much greater degree of authority on the council than her predecessors and began introducing a number of sweeping reforms. Although the reforms were ultimately approved by the ruling families, the changes weren't made without significant bloodshed. The primary goal of the reforms were to divide the governing form into two tiers, with an upper chamber and lower chamber. The proposed structure would vest all decision-making power in the upper chamber, which would include only those delegates who were from the ancient dynastic families. The lower chamber would consist of those delegates who had acquired power within the last couple of 100 years through industry and commerce. The upper chamber, where all decisions are made, includes dukes, earls, princes, counts, and countesses, barons and baronesses. And the lower chamber consists of the world's wealthiest families, such as the Vanderbilts, Rockefellers, and Rothschilds. To ensure the decisions of the World Governing Council would not be swayed by any prevailing political philosophies or financial interests other than their own. This was the primary reason that membership in the upper chamber was reserved for those who had inherited their wealth and positions. And finally, to establish an independent World Security Office, with herself at the head, responsible for enforcing the rules of the Governing Council and holding member delegates accountable to a central authority. The Security Office would also be authorized to commandeer any military force or intelligence gathering apparatus in the world. The proposed changes gave rise to a significant amount of opposition. Prior to the final vote to implement the reforms, an assassination plot was hatched by 18 of the most powerful delegates, all of whom were princes and dukes from Europe's most elite houses. Miss Belenoff learned of the plot, and after the final vote was tallied in her favor, she then confronted the conspirators in an open forum, accusing them of treason. She ordered 12 of the would-be assassins to climb the castle's north tower and to jump to their deaths. The remaining 6 conspirators were to be given revolvers and ordered to proceed to the adjoining courtyard where they were to take their lives. With Somerset now holding power, the accused were forced to capitulate. After the 12 princes had left the table and ascended the stairs to the north tower under the gun, Miss Belenoff made the remark, "12 lords a-leaping," in reference to a line from a popular Christmas song. From here, her rule was absolute. She quickly became known for being ruthless, tracking down and demonstrating the destruction of any subjects who were hostile to her agenda. Her motto became, "Debate is required, respectful dissent is allowed, but betrayal is a death sentence." Within the high levels of the upper chamber of the organization itself, she is taken to appointing those directly related or close associates to her, ensuring loyalty. Alleged insiders who have switched sides, so to speak, have said that Belenoff personally manages the succession plans for each department. As in my previous video, covering the horrors of Marc Dutroux and the interconnected web implicating the Belgian government at that time, this organization too primarily operates out of Belgium and Luxembourg. This is probably not only due to governmental control, but to the powerful commerce of the site itself. Prior to 2019, the government of Luxembourg required all organizations to publish their employee directories in accordance with that law, and the organization did just this. However, due to raised public awareness and interest in those that pull the strings, the law was overturned, and the Veton employee directory was removed from the internet. Thankfully, various versions were saved before the directory's removal and have been archived. The directory I found had been archived and uploaded to archive.org and contains many individuals and their supposed roles within the organization. A brief example of a few apparently close to the Countess herself would be Natalie Belenoff Windsor, youngest daughter of Somerset. Reporting directly to the Countess, she sits on the board of governors responsible for Luxembourg Cathedral, which is the primary communications tower, as well as the home of the upper chamber of the World Governing Council. She is married to Lord Oliver Windsor and is a former lady-in-waiting to the now deceased Queen Elizabeth II. Next is Karina Belenoff, Somerset's middle daughter, and the Elector General for the upper chamber. She is responsible for communication connections and enforcement of directives for Veton towers throughout the world, and is the chief protocol officer for Bohemian Grove. Like both of her sisters, Karina Belenoff reports directly to her mother, the Countess. Observers have also noted that Karina Belenoff, like several people close to the Countess, have the condition known as heteochromia, meaning each eye is a different color. Although now scrubbed from the internet, Belenoff was once the registered owner of the domain bohemiangrove.com and the owner of the site itself in California. I found myself asking just who were these people called the Shadow Watchers? What was their goal? And how did they source such information? Was it all real? According to the same documents I found during my research, the Shadow Watchers claim to be a group of professional researchers, attorneys, teachers, Interpol investigators, journalists, security specialists, and professional historians scattered throughout the globe, all of which share an interest in Miss Belenoff and her influence in the space generally referred to as the elite or the Illuminati. They say that it is our hope that we can share a more accurate view of the forces working behind the scenes, and to that end, we offer first-hand, verifiable information rather than innuendo or fantasy. Belenoff researchers have often noted that information about her is elusive, and once posted, is often removed within a few days or weeks, which that would make sense considering this site was removed, and I was looking at an archived version of it, as well as multiple other associated documents or web pages I had come across during my research. It led to a familiar feeling, the same feeling I got digging into the Mothers of Darkness castle, Chateau d'Armois. It seemed as though it took years to collect this information, that the supposed facts were vague at best. The Veton World Governing Council, for all intent and purposes, doesn't exist. When Googling it, I came across various sites that seemed official, being .orgs, but I either didn't have permission to access them, or they provided little to no information as to what they did, which I found weird to say the least. Any sites that contained information aside from some podcasts I came across in regards to Somerset Belenoff were archived and no longer live. The PDF I found containing those supposed members of the Veton World Governing Council staff, published in 2019 in Luxembourg, as per the law at that time, contained photos which seemed to possibly be AI generated at first. I did run the questionable ones through multiple AI and alteration scans, and although similar to some photos that had been generated, they seemed to be of real people. Reverse image searches also didn't show me any sort of source as to where they could have been pulled from, if elsewhere, which again, I've found to be strange. The families also oddly did check out as well, with Saxe Coburg Gotha being part of the House of Veton, and I was able to trace that fairly easily using Wikipedia. Obviously, if I was an all-powerful cabal, I wouldn't allow my secrets to be free-floating on the internet either. If anything, what I would do is provide opposing information or flood the internet with misinformation as to create plausible doubt in the minds of those who dug a little too deep. I came across this as well, but at the end of the day, after researching as hard as I could, I am left with more questions than answers. Do these organizations exist? Does the woman known as Somerset Belenoff exist? Is Lucifer real? And so many others. But one question in a pile of burning embers burns hotter than the others, and one that may never be answered. Just what is the truth? Although I have drawn my own conclusions, yours are now your own to make, now that I have shared with you what I have found. And one thing is certain. Mystery surrounds the person known as Somerset Belenoff, as thick as the fog that permeates the grounds of hidden castles, where those who dance in the darkness pay homage to Lucifer himself. Or does it? What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Make sure to like this video and subscribe with notifications on if you haven't already. Numbers have been catastrophically down, and I would truly appreciate you guys showing some love for the channel. Also share this video on social media and with anyone and everyone you can. All that stuff helps me out a ton. I did also want to take a moment as well to thank channel members and patrons who support me, and the community as a whole. You guys are truly incredible and drive me to work harder than ever before, and I really truly appreciate you all. If you'd like to watch my content ad-free, consider becoming a member or patron today. I am also going to be posting behind the scenes and member-only paranormal investigation streams. If you haven't seen the mentioned part 1 of the Mothers of Darkness, I will link it at the end of this video and in the description below. I would also like to be perfectly honest with you guys. I don't like covering conspiracies because it's always a gamble if my channel will suffer as a result. However, when the time feels right, I try to cover them, and right now seemed like one of those times. And hopefully those of you who resonate with this video will agree. But it will never be my primary focus on this channel for a variety of obvious reasons. Anyways, as always guys, this has been Cody here at Mystery Archives. Thank you for watching and supporting me. I love you all, and I will see you next Thursday with an all-new video and a draw for the winner of the signed Bill Vale book. So stay safe out there, take care, and I'll see you next time.